Tuck, go. We are live for launch. And let me pull up. Actually, you know what? The MB view of the movie is better than the IMDb lately. You know what I mean? When you
yeah.
They used to be great on IMDb. I love the layout, and it changed it into like a responsive layout for mobile or something. I can't stand it from the desktop point of view. They should allow, if you're on a desktop, to go back to the old one.
Well, I was on Amazon a little while ago, and they keep making it French, keep making it French. And it's like, can I not just put somewhere that I says, please, only English?
Yeah. So let's share this window.
And that is the window of the movie that we watched.
That will be this one. Share.
And the movie is Unforgiven.
That's what it is. And that was a movie that I had picked in my list to you, and then you picked back and put it in for me.
Yeah, it had been so highly touted about. It had won Best Picture, I believe, for the Oscars, and I had never seen it. And it is a Western, which Martin likes watching, but me not usually so much, because I think of the typical sort of spaghetti Westerns, they were called. And I never thought of them as, I used to tease Martin that when he reads Westerns, it's like Harlequin romance on a horse, but without the romance. So
I'm wondering if the Unforgiven screen is being shown, because it's popping back and forth to you and me. When I talk, it's got the blue line around it. When you talk,
I don't know. We'll only know when we see the recording.
Why isn't
it? It says Jeff is presenting, but it's not talking. So maybe that's why. I have the three screens.
I see the third one too. So maybe it is showing that one up top and us down below. I don't know.
We'll have to see when it goes up on YouTube what it looks like.
Yeah, how that gets recorded. So what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was really well done. It was a hard movie to watch in some places, but there was, I enjoyed it. And I didn't think I'd say that of a Western, but Clint Eastwood knows his stuff, I think.
It's funny. I was so ready to enjoy it, and I didn't so much because I kept questioning too many things in the movie.
Yeah, there were a few things that it's like, okay, there's a few things that bothered me, but I guess I came in with very low expectations, thinking I'm not going to really like a Western because it's a Western, and I was impressed by what I did see.
Like just the bumbling. I can't even get on a horse anymore.
Yeah. And like they had a scene, like I could never tell the timeline. Like they started out, following this guy and then they were going to start killing some people. And then there was snow, and it's like, where in the heck is the snow coming? And then there's no snow. And it's like, I don't know if days have passed by or months or years. I had no clue. So that part really frustrated me. I didn't like that.
When the snow came, it really only could have been 2 days passing, like the way they were talking about certain things from before and then in the snow. And I'm going, holy smokes, they've really, I mean, I get it. It can snow, but when they slept outside at night, they had blankets over them. But if there's snow, you're a lot colder than a little blanket over you when you're sleeping outside.
Yeah, it wasn't making sense that way. I think they were talking on years ago on Cheers. They were talking about the sweatiest movie. I think that this is the rainiest movie. It was the rain when I felt wet.
Yeah.
Just watching it. It was like the scenes of the rain were just relentless in its, upsetting the way that things were going. It was just, I don't know. I felt wet and rained on, and I of course didn't get rained on.
I agree. I felt that same kind of thing. I guess it was needed for the plot, but it seemed like there was a lot of stuff in the plot that didn't need to be there to make a nice movie out of it. Like, especially the ending. I so wanted him to be with the girl, or the young kid with the girl.
Somebody with that girl. Yeah, like I thought he would go away, and even in the footnotes, all he had to say is he left with the girl. And they didn't say that at all. So it's okay.
Why wouldn't they give you a happy ending? Like, why would a movie studio go, yeah, let's leave it ambiguous and let it just sort of feathers away at the end, when we could make people leave the theater going, I feel so good.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm trying to think of the things that I didn't like about it. There's a bunch of them. Although like Gene Hackman, is there a worse guy around? Like, he was just such a, and for a while you think, is he good? No, he is not good. He played that so well. I was just, I hated him, you know.
I didn't like him either, and I was wanting to find a way of liking him. Every time you sort of thought you might be given a gift of liking him, he faltered and became the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
for sure. And then his dweeby little sidekick, that
Saul Rubinek.
Yeah, Beauchamp.
Yeah, he was. The one scene where he wet himself because he was so scared. The water come flowing out like a hose, and it's like when, not that I know incredibly from personal experience what it's like to pee your pants, but it doesn't come flowing out like a whole hose down your leg. So that part made me go, you wanted to hear the splattering of. And
not even if you wore plastic pants would it come out like that.
No, I know.
He's got cloth pants on, it would be soaked up way before it hit the ground. It was an obvious tripe piece of
that part. I didn't like that at all either. But I get, they wanted it to be obvious. I mean, just seeing a dark spot form would have been good enough for to make the point, but they didn't. So part of me didn't get, so I don't know. I don't want to, like, there's no spoilers in it or anything like that, but the idea of, so this guy is a former gunfighter, and he meets a woman and marries her and reforms, and so he's no longer a gunfighter. He's trying to be a farmer, and he ends up not being a very good farmer. But his wife dies, and he has 2 children, and so I don't like how they made him I get he's older and stuff, but he couldn't even get on his horse. And then some young kid says, let's go get a bounty. But part of it's like, what is the authenticity of the bounty? Like, how does he know he's going to get the money? And that part was all too confusing to me. Like how is he sure that he's going to get this money? The particulars weren't good enough for me. And so then he gets Morgan Freeman, who's his friend. And I like that relationship. But the fact that the young kid couldn't even see to shoot someone, and William Money, he couldn't even ride his horse. And then Ned Logan was pretty good. But it's like, clearly it felt like the Three Stooges were trying to shoot some people.
Yeah. And Three Stooges would have been funny. This was like pathetic.
Yeah, it was. I what I appreciated was that his wife, who had passed away, was almost a character in the movie without even seeing her or anything. His love for her and the fact that he let her change him, who he was, and into a better man, that kind of thing. He gave up drinking and stuff like that. I appreciated that she was almost a character in the movie. And then they wrapped it up again at the end that they had said that the mother went to visit, and the mother never did understand why her daughter wanted to marry such a bad guy. And it turns out he's not really that bad of a guy.
I don't know that he's not that bad of a guy. He wants to get money, and he's willing to kill somebody just based on somebody's saying, I'll give you $1,000 to kill somebody. And that's it. There's no contract, there's no looking at the law, there's no studying what they did. It was just those 2 guys. How does he know what they look like? He goes, that's him.
Well, they had 2 pictures so they had them draw. But I know there's no
based on that picture. You don't know if he's got a brother.
Yeah,
you don't know any of that. Oh, that was just
no. And I didn't know how far away anything was, and so I didn't know how far he was traveling, and leaving his kids alone for 2 weeks or maybe 2 years for all we could tell in this movie. Yeah. Like, we couldn't tell that. But so I hated the timeline. that part I didn't like at all. But the idea that he was going to the revenge and like for a woman had been a prostitute had been cut up, and then the guy explained how terrible it was. Her ears were cut off, and her eyeballs were poked out, and it's like it wasn't anything like that. So it's like, okay, now am I supposed to not believe the kid at all? Like I didn't know if that was confusing. Like, did he just really not know the facts, or was he making them up to try and get him to come along? I had no idea. So in that way, it was confusing.
I'm just guessing the exaggeration is there so that you have the anger in you to go kill for the honor of the prostitutes. But who has the honor of prostitutes in those days? They seem to have a lot of confidence, those prostitutes, for people who have no confidence and get beat up the way they do and have a guy running their lives the way they do. There was a time when somebody threw something through the window at them, a rock or whatever, and they go to the window and start yelling and screaming. You should be scared. Like, what's happened to you in the past for just, teasing a client? And what happens to you, like, you'd be shell-shocked over that. You'd be so nervous about somebody doing something like that again to you when you watch that happen to a comrade of yours. And they didn't. They were on the offensive and strong, and we're strong women. And I'm going, oh my goodness, they sort of mix up what strong women is in that situation. Nobody would be strong in that. And you're a prostitute making as little money as you are, just trying to get by. And you don't have the wherewithal to take all your funds and put it into a thing and hide it from your boss, who would love to come take that money. And somehow
he somehow never found it. They kept it from him the whole time. It's like, a lot of it didn't make sense. But when you consider what Westerns were, this is, I think, a step up. Like, it became something deeper. Like the idea that a gun for hire, this is what William Money had started out as, that he could change his ways. I appreciated that. And then at the end, when he took that drink, I thought, oh no, is this the beginning of something terrible? But apparently it sounded like in the epilogue that he, went with his kids and found a better life.
Yeah, it just had so much potential. There's a movie I saw, I forget what it was. It was a Western. It was made in like 1939. And it was so much of a better movie than this one in terms of having feelings for the characters and really believing in them. And I'll find it, and then you can watch it and you can tell me if you had the exact same thought process behind this other movie, which had no big stars in it, which, you know what I mean? It was just a movie from 39 that you wouldn't even ever come across. And it was the story of the same thing they have now with immigrants coming in and being shunned in California as they're trying to make way, and all the white people didn't want the Indians getting anything, and the Mexicans coming up and don't give them safe passage, and all the almost current cultural pinnings were in that movie, and how they tried to overcome it and be good people. And it was such more a believable movie. This wasn't believable. There were too many times it just went, that's not how it would happen. I don't know anything about the 1800s, but that's not how it would happen.
Yeah, that part. They threw in some things that make you go, oh, okay. They talked about, I think, the president, and they talked about a bunch of things that kind of connected it to the time and place that makes you go, oh, okay. So that, they're trying to set it in history.
Yeah.
And yet it wasn't enough for me. Like, it wasn't genuine about that, because like you said Kansas, and then I didn't know in Wyoming. And so I don't really know where they started from. Like, I should have listened better to that. And I tried to actually listen, but I couldn't in my head figure out how far did they have to go? Was it a couple of days? Like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I was so ready to like it because I liked El Camino. What a good movie that was with Clint Eastwood.
Oh no, the Gran Torino.
El Camino.
Yeah. Close. It's a car. No, it's a similar. It's funny how I was talking with Martin about it. It's like both characters had a good woman that was, was lost to him, and he ended up being crotchety and then going back to his ways, and yet now reforming again. So is he reformed if he, okay, I'm just going to kill these last two guys because they're really bad?
But you don't even know if both guys were bad. Only one guy really did it.
I know, and the other, I actually didn't like that idea of justice, because the one who didn't do it came back, and like the penalty was five ponies for the saloon owner, like for the pimp, and 2 ponies for the girl.
No, he went to give his one pony, the best
one pony he gave to her.
Yeah.
So why would you want to kill a guy who did that? Like, I didn't get that. Like, I don't know. I didn't get that part. So I didn't get the fact that, we got to kill these low down people. Like, if they wanted to kill the sheriff, I get that one. Like, why didn't somebody stop that guy? Like, even all the girls, couldn't they just gang up and kill him? Because he was such a sadist, mean guy, just bad.
I didn't like when the horse, even the girls would go, get that horse out of here. We don't want that horse. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, why did she say I'm selling it?
It's nothing or the horse. So you go, you would rather have nothing. In other words, even though he has a little bit of contrition and he was just the partner of the guy, he didn't do any of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really didn't. And then he's now going to be murdered for it. And everybody's sort of, from the Clint Eastwood side of let's go do this. We need to kill these people.
Yeah.
Maybe
Clint Eastwood was under the impression that he really, really was, a bad guy. But it's like he wasn't that bad, and the other one wasn't really bad at all. And he tried to make, like, what guy would give him extra? What guy would say, okay, I'm going to get, like, I wasn't asked to give the prostitute anything, but I'm going to give her a pony because I feel bad about what happened. Like, he didn't have to do that. So it's like, hey, good on him. But he ends up being dead. Yeah. And not done well either, the shooting. But what I did like is when the young guy killed for the first time, and how traumatic it was. That I appreciated. He was full of bravado, saying that he had killed 5 men, and it turned out he hadn't, and how hard it was. And what was the line? See if I can find it. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. You take away everything he's got and everything he's ever gonna have. So yeah. I appreciate they didn't gloss over that. They made it so, and it ended up changing him for the good. So that I appreciated. I appreciated the way William Money is mostly mad at the sheriff for killing his friend and leaving his body out. And yeah, that part. And he said, you bury him proper or I'll be back.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you're right. That part of it was nice that he was doing that for his friend, and he went in to clean up the mess that was sitting in that town, by killing a bunch of the bad guys who, there's no guns in this town, but a bunch of people seem to have a lot of guns.
Yeah. And yeah.
But even him, when he lied and they said, do you have a gun on you? No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Of course, they're going to find a gun on you. They're going to check you out. Like, then you're going to get beat up like he got beat up. Like, I don't understand the thought process of, you go into a town and the sheriff says, do you have any guns on you? You better tell him. Like, why would you hide that? You're like, you can't get away with it. Obviously.
Okay. And even say you can hide it, but then use something clever to kill him. Yeah. Because you hid it in your boot and then you pulled it out. Now he's dead. There you go. It's just like it. In some ways, he was such a bad gunslinger. I mean, of course, he's rusty and all that.
But you don't get that rusty. You don't know how to not get on a horse. You live in the middle of nowhere, and you got.
Well, I like how he said the horse has a long memory, and I used to be mean to it before I stopped drinking and stuff. So I there again, a little piece of, I like that, how he said that the sins of his past, the horse remembers. But it's like, okay, don't you get rid of a horse and trade it for a horse that you can ride if you're a farmer? Like, why don't you do that in the meantime? Like,
he's been feeding this horse for 5 years.
Yeah, and he can't ride it because some of it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, that writing was
I did appreciate too how they were going to split up the money, and Ned's wife was going to get some. They didn't talk about the fact that Ned was a black person. Like, that never came up. Like, would it? And he was married to an Indian woman. Is how they would, although they left the characters with a lot of do you call that? They left them with a lot of pride. They were the woman was quiet, didn't have lines, but she was not a cartoon figure.
Right. She wasn't diminished. She was elevated by that.
Yeah. And so that although he wasn't a nice enough guy to not sleep around on her, he went to the prostitutes. And it's funny, William Money wouldn't do it, even though he could, because his wife has passed away, but he couldn't. He honored her memory too much, and he couldn't do that. And I like how he almost like he told the girl who was cut up, that you're still of value. And it's like, why didn't he end up with her? Because that would have been really nice.
Yeah. And she would have raised the kid. She was young enough to be helpful in that.
Something, yeah. There's got to be some way to make that a little bit better.
Talk to whoever decided, because they had a long enough movie, 2 hours and 15 minutes or something. You had enough time to actually make people have their character worked out, figured out, and they just, I don't know, they failed so miserably on that end. I mean, even the Morgan Freeman character, you're right, he's black, and you think at that time they'd be going, he's just a black guy, we can kill him, you know what I mean? Because that's what they would be thinking,
and they didn't say that at all. They didn't address it, which is, in some ways I appreciate that, but it doesn't sound realistic then anymore. Or like maybe there were places that, the color of your skin really made no difference at all, like in the Wild West. Maybe it was like that, but that's not the impression that we get of history.
Django Unchained is a movie that's much more realistic about that kind of stuff. That's how they treated people. Like the newest, what is it? There's a aristocracy movie in England, like Downton Abbey, but it's all kings and queens and
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton.
And they put the black people in the roles that you wouldn't expect.
They wouldn't be in history, and I know why they're putting them in now, and you don't need to really be true to history. That's not the imperative thing. Looking at a color to make that true to history, you know what I mean? That's right. Not. But then don't make everything true to history except that one piece.
Right.
Like everything. Yeah.
They did the same thing in Hamilton, the musical. It was a very diverse cast. Like Aaron Burr is black. George Washington is black. What's the guy from Virginia? Can't remember. The one president who had the slave.
John Adams.
No. He lived in Virginia. Monticello.
Ben Franklin.
No. Spend a half an hour here talking about which one. No. I was at his house. I went to his house.
Did you?
Sally is the slave's name.
Good tea, nice house.
Yeah. That's your TikTok with the most views, right?
It blows my brain. But I do know why I get so few views on mine is because I have the word suicide in it. And the algorithm's going to pop that to the bottom, like for sure. They don't want people talking about downer things.
Yeah.
Because all about suicide kills the book.
Yeah.
So I get why it would be very minimized and not promoted and not, put into the algorithm under anybody's circumstance.
Well, I have no idea why a couple of mine went into the 1,000, and I have no clue why. Because it's no different really than anything else I did.
You said the word Ukraine.
Yeah, that's the one. But there's another one that I was walking downtown, and it showed up over 1,000 too, and I have no idea how it got there.
Watch that again and try and figure out what that could be that would have got it.
Well, my goal of TikTok isn't trying to get like, because I would be following people. I think I have like, I'm following like 7 people. And that's all I follow. Some low number like that, and I don't even know the metrics of it.
I follow like 1,100, and I think
sure
600 follow me.
Yeah. No, that's not my goal on TikTok. I'm just having a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah,
Although I've done my walking project, so I have a few things I can talk about yet, but I am actually finished all of Hamilton.
I was going to address that. Where am I addressing that? I was going to address that with
a screen share of
a window. That window.
Oh. It's a walk that took many years to finish. We come back, we'll take on this woman's unique journey around Hamilton. Literally. My first show married to return with the lakes on the forecast and dry. Thank you very much. Shall I walk around the block turn into a journey around the entire city of Hamilton after many years. Anita, the older's map, crossed the finish line.
Well, the finish line is actually at the stop sign, so I had to keep going. Hey, where's she going? It's like.
And in Flamborough today, she says the entire journey was about 4,000 miles, which is about 6,000 kilometers. She has a lot, she's seen a lot apparently over the years, and suggests others explore the city as well.
What I want to do
Look at my name.
Know that you can discover
my name is Fred Eisenberg. I'm the mayor.
For a walk and explore and be amazed by the wonders that are out there, because they're all over this city.
It really is a spectacular city. It's got a lot of great elements, and Anita would be a testament to having seen every square inch of roadway in our community.
People have said, what's next? And I don't know that I put to have another project like this, but I do want to explore other places. I have a grandchild who's in Brantford, and I think Grandma can walk him around a couple of blocks there, maybe. So.
Elizabeth says she chose to finish on John Martin Crescent because her grandson's name is Ethan John Martin, and it's a quiet street.
So counts it up.
So I don't know if that was even shown because of our talking and stuff. So it might have been your in my face. I can't imagine it not being shown if I
present
it. Like, why would they go?
But that was the CH footage of my final walking project, which you don't need to show during this podcast. It was like,
well, no, because we like I was just thinking of it. So the other thing is, and I wanted to do this here because I was talking to Stacy about it. And did you know that Rob and Laura Petrie were Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke were married in real life?
No, they were not.
Okay. You're right. I said it that way to lead you in. So just in case you were on the fence, you would go with yes. Because you go, oh, I guess they were. So I'm going to say, yes, I did know that.
No, I know you. No.
That was good. No. That's what I wanted.
No.
Because I said, I think they're in real life. Weren't they married? And she went, no. And I went, yeah, I think that. She goes, no. And I'm going, oh, crap. I'm going to be wrong. And I was.
You did. I thought you were playing with, someone trying to, No,
I somehow remembered thinking that they were, that there was a difficulty at the end of Dick Van Dyke, and they were married and their relationship was fizzling out, and that made everything difficult, and that somehow that was in my head.
Yeah.
And I thought it would have been in yours.
No, I can see how you might have heard something that made you think that, but no. Dick Van Dyke was married to someone and then he was divorced. And then he's now married to a woman named Arlene, and they do the cutest videos. He's still tap dancing away. He's 90, whatever, 93 or 5 or something.
Yeah, no, it's just she's really good with those kind of details. I so rarely trip her up. Like
it's fun having people that know stuff like that. You can go, well, what about and then it's fun to try and fake them out.
I've probably been right 1 out of 100 times. She's been right 99. I've been right maybe once.
But why do you pick things that you don't know enough about to be 100%?
Well, I don't say I know for sure. This one I would have probably put money on that Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore. In other words, if somebody would have said, we'll each put $10 on this, I probably would have, because I was thinking I had some inside baseball.
Okay.
One, but yeah, most of the others I just assume, and I'll say something that one of them was Kennedy. She goes, "Oh, 34th president." And I went, "No, he's not that far back. He's got to be up more." And I'm just wrong. She knew exactly the number. Like it's that kind of stuff. I would never have bet on it. It's just those things. She's right when
you have to start saying stuff like Bob Crane on Hogan's Heroes died from whatever, and then stuff you already know.
So she would go, "Oh, he died in 1978, July 7th." And like that's the problem. She would have those kind of details.
Right.
So
because she remembers. Yeah. We have with some of our kids, they have movie lines or musicals, and they're able to replicate them. And like Anne and Shirley could literally sing the first, half hour of Beauty and the Beast, like word for word.
Right.
And they probably still are pretty close to that. And Andrew is known for because he stutters. When he does accents, he quite often doesn't stutter. When he sings, he doesn't stutter. But so when he does accents, he likes doing those, and he gets pretty good at it. He was doing, I think, Despicable Me guy, Steve Carell, I guess, to Emma and making her giggle. So that kind of stuff is fun. Someone who has that talent.
Yeah, no, I remember he did a few. What else? Did he do some Star Trek ones, or he did, what was that, Gangnam Style? He would like sing Gangnam Style.
He could do all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
he did that really, really well. Like I like when he did that.
Yeah, in my head I can do stuff like that, but really not. Like in my head I can dance well. In my head I can sing well. There's so many things, Jeff, I can do in my head really actually quite well. I'm an artist in my head. When it comes down to actually, not so much.
Oh, I'm not an artist in my head at all.
Oh, I am.
I
think I'll be able to do that.
The only thing I may think of is frisbee throws or something. What I should have done instead of what I did.
Right. Yeah, and I have nothing sports. That's why I love my walking project, is that anyone could do it. I am not an athlete. So there's these 3 guys. I think there's 3 guys in Toronto that just finished walking every street in Toronto, which is like almost 3 times as big as Hamilton. Maybe not miles, but like there's, I think, 11,000 streets, and Hamilton was like 4,000 something. So the one guy decided to do it, and then his friends started to go with him. And this is during COVID that it became a thing. So within like 2 years, they ran all the streets in Toronto. So I guess the guy who started, life got in the way, and the other 2 actually beat him to the finish line. But yeah, they're marathoners. Like he runs the marathon in under 3 hours. So it's like, okay, he is different. This is a different class. This is a Schlumpadinka person who just is not fit at all, and I can do something that's really interesting and enjoyable. And so anyone can do anything like that. They can explore the city in a different way. Just, I really like doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got to come up with some kind of focal point for your ADHD or whatever you have.
Well, I think that I'm going to walk, like I have like 4,000 streets walked on. And I'd like to get to 5,000. So I'm going to walk around other places, but I don't have the urge to, like, I'm going to go to St. Catharines and go to the Valley Village there, and I'll walk around some streets in St. Catharines, but I don't have the urge to finish St. Catharines.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think I'll have that. And I'll
the cost of gas doing St. Catharines would be exorbitant.
Yeah, like, and you're driving for an hour to get somewhere. It's to go for a walk, and just like then you have to do 10 miles, and it's like, okay, that was. I did a number of them, but
you're paying $30 a walk is what you're paying.
Yeah, and it's like it's sort of what's the point again? But then again, I said that about doing Flamborough, because when I finished like Hamilton in 2018, when I was talking to the mayor, he said, "What's next?" And I said, "Well, I've been doing some of Stony Creek, and I don't know, maybe I'll do some more." And then I said, "But I'm not going to do Flamborough. Who's crazy enough to do that?" It's like, oh, I guess it appears that I was. So that was
you ended up walking all of what Hamilton calls Hamilton now. Is that what it is?
The outer boundaries. So we have, it's now a community of communities. So included in Hamilton is Stony Creek, which includes like Winona and Fruitland and like all those little ones, Glanbrook, Ancaster, Dundas, and Flamborough, which Flamborough goes all the way up to Cambridge. Like I could have stepped over the line and been in Cambridge. Right. And then Burlington and Halton, and so I got to see very, very far away from home. It was walking along almost the 403, 401 for a while. Really? To see the 401. So
up in Rockton, you were up Rockton way?
Rockton, Sheffield, Troy, all those places. Kirkwall. So it was fun to explore those places. Like I never would have been there. The Mouseburg Reservoir. Again, this is not about the movie at all, is it?
Yeah, the movie done. I mean, I didn't think that was that great of a movie, and I was so wanting it to be.
No, and I was thinking it was going to be terrible, and it was like, it's actually better than I thought it was.
Yeah, that's funny. You thought it was going to be terrible. I thought it was going to be great. We came to the middle.
I had such low expectations. It's like Clint Eastwood. Okay, I liked him in Gran Torino, but do I really, in general, I'm not fond of the sneering kind of cowboy guy he is. But I don't know. There's parts of it I liked.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I made notes, and no, not really. Yeah, I didn't like the way it really ended, but they tied it up with a bow. Okay.
They at least got him to kill the sheriff, and it's almost the most important thing.
Yeah, and he kills the sheriff, and then it looks like he's coming back, and he's gonna grab his gun. It's like, okay, so like there's the tension of that, That's in Men in Black, they blow up the alien, and then inside the alien it rises. And
I was hoping one of the prostitutes would pick up a gun and shoot the guy who's running the town, or the pimp who was running the billiards place.
Yeah.
Like I was really hoping for that. If they have this gusto thing that
gang up and get rid of him. I mean,
the girl who was cut up. Can you imagine if she saved Clint Eastwood's life? That would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was shot in the shoulder, and he goes back.
Yeah.
And his gun falls out of his hand, and then he starts walking and doesn't realize that she picked up the gun. And as he's about to shoot him, she does the killing of him to save his life. Oh my goodness, it would have been great.
Yeah, and she wouldn't even have to, be leaping through the air or anything. She could just even kick him the gun so he can pick it up and shoot, or something. Yeah. No, I agree with that, and I would have liked to see his relationship with her more explored.
Did that, saved his life, and then they went off together.
Yay! The crowd's cheers.
That would totally save this movie in my mind, and I would go, what a great movie. It ended the way it really hoped. All the trudgery, he's getting old. He has somebody to help with the kids, because they showed how old he is. He can't get on a horse anymore. You know what I mean? Like, he can't shoot a gun straight anymore. Like, I didn't like that the Morgan Freeman character got nervous and I don't want to shoot a gun anymore. I'm going home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. What was that all about?
And then he gets caught up and killed for it. You know what I mean? Like it was so anticlimactic. Stay with the group. Be part of the win. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they had to do it now together, and he's killed, and now I guess the revenge on him was worth it. But it would have been worth it for him to be killed in the gunfight, and then you go kill the sheriff because he did it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's pretty impossible for him to win against all those people, and he does. He doesn't have a bullet scratch on him. Like,
well, he's all beat up, but it's almost like because of other things. Like, he was hurt because kept falling off the horse. That's what hurt him more than being shot at or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't seem to be great gunfighters. The one couldn't see, the one couldn't shoot. Why would they expect to get the money? And
That was, and it's obvious they're going to get the money in their heads. Obvious. You know what I mean? Like there was no question they were going to get it.
Yeah, I'm surprised it got so many Oscar things and a lot of awards.
Yeah.
Well, Gene Hackman, he was such a good bad guy that I get his part in it.
Was he supporting actor or something?
I think so.
Yeah. No, he was good, but I mean, he was a very flat character too. He could have had more dimension. He could have had a wife. He could have had kids. He could have had.
They had the house. He was building the house, and I did like when Saul Rubinek and they're in the house and it's dripping and it's raining and he's putting all the pans out to catch it, and then the Saul Rubinek doesn't know he built the house. And he said, "Well, you have a lousy carpenter." It was like him, and it's like lucky he didn't get his head shot off.
Yeah,
and
that was a bit ironic when he said that, but. I don't know. I think if I was helping write that movie, I could have done a better job, and I shouldn't be able to do a better job.
Right. I get how you can say that. Yeah.
Not that I could have done a better job asking me to write the whole movie. I would have done a way worse job. But if you asked me to consult with it, I could have turned it into a better job.
The focus group would have said, I think he should end up with the prostitute who got cut up.
Yeah.
Just as simple. And you don't even have to have them show scenes together. You can just put it on the words in the back, Delilah and Bill Money go with the kids, and no one sees them again.
I would have liked to see, because they showed the outside of the farmhouse in the shadow, her there. You know what I mean? Like the kids running around her skirt and hugging it, and he's like looking out at the field. Just something of that nature.
Yeah.
Just make me feel good. And
a little happily ever after. But the triumph of good over evil is a thing. And I found out.
So who is Unforgiven? What, like,
I know who are we supposed to be Unforgiven? Is it the sheriff? Is it the guy who is it?
Well, is it Clint Eastwood because he wasn't forgiven for his past? Because his past included killing women and children, and he did. I mean, he obviously didn't do that on purpose. He did that as part of like blowing something up, and then women and children died, or a train was off the tracks and women and children died. It wasn't that he went up and murdered them, but he was the cause of their death. And so, I mean, he was a bad guy, and he is unforgiven, I guess. But he was forgiven because he killed Gene Hackman and made things better. So that's forgiven in a way. I didn't get who's Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Other than Gene Hackman would never forgive anybody.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about him. It was supposed to be about Clint Eastwood.
Well, I read a line that says the Westerns have an implacable moral balance in which good eventually silences evil. And so I guess that happens in a way. Like, I mean, if the sheriff hadn't have died, I would have been really annoyed.
Yeah.
Like you have to do something. You have to solve that problem, because that was unsurmountable to leave that as like, oh no, he and Delilah end up happily ever after. No. Can't do that. But
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So we got to go with the 2000s.
2000s.
So what was that? Is that called the aughts? Is that what people call that decade?
Some do, yeah.
What would you call it?
Is it noughts or aughts? Aughts is AUGHT.
Yeah, I thought it was.
We just say the 2000s, but then that could be the whole compared to the nine. Like, so that we really mucked that up. I kind of didn't want to be living in the 2000s because it's too confusing. Yeah. I just I like the 19. Keep 19.
The 19110s.
Yes.
19120s.
Yeah.
That's
right. Sure.
122. That's not bad.
Well, we were kids. But did we think we were going to be in the 2020?
The 70s, the 90s, everything made sense. You could compartmentalize. Yes. Right. And then in 2000, it's the new century, and it's all blurred into one.
It's all wrong. Yeah. Yeah, my brain doesn't appreciate it much. But well, I'm getting over it.
Well, now that we had the teens and we're going into the 20s, maybe it's just our age, because maybe kids are fine with separating decades still, and we're not, because it got mucked up with our ease of how we were doing it with the 70s and 80s. And
yeah, because like we can say I'm a kid of the 90s or whatever, and what do they say? I'm a kid of the 2000s
Well, you're
without
the
the tens.
millennials, or you're the
Yeah, but that could be done anything. Like I
Yeah.
think aughts are really the only thing in that, like you're saying, it has to have a 0 in front of it because once it goes into 10, it goes into the tens.
yeah,
Like,
that's-
yeah,
like
who knows?
what did they call the night before the 1920s, the Roaring Twenties or whatever they were called? What did they call that decade in the newspapers and stuff?
The
'Cause they were-
1910s, the 19 teens.
They had a world war in there, and they just forgot about it. It wasn't the war was everything's easy.
And they had a pandemic, didn't they?
both, yeah.
Well, we had a pandemic and we have some wars.
Not the same kind of wars.
We have not gotten smarter though. So
That's pretty funny, eh?
yeah, I to be honest, until COVID hit, I actually thought we were smarter. And now I don't believe it. I did. I honestly believed we were. Like we as a society are learning how to be kinder to each other, and we're learning how to respect differences, and things are getting better. And I've learned that we're really
No, things are
stupid.
way better than they were.
Oh, yes, some things are, but
Years ago.
I things are better. I thought we were smarter, and I don't think a lot of us aren't smarter.
Yeah, but we have the influence of everything happening with media and news, and
it's making us stupider.
yeah, I mean the fact that we have flat Earth people arguing.
There's
with-
still people out there doing that, and it's
and nobody
like,
did the 50s and 60s. No.
how can that be possible? Like I don't get it. But then again, we don't have to, Jeff, solve all the problems of the world in this little video. We really don't. We're smart enough to, had we really, put our combined brain power together, you would think that we could, but
No, like Claude said in the book, when I was young, I wanted to change the world. When I got older, I realized I just needed to change myself.
yeah.
And so, I mean, Dad was all about that with his Phillips Environmental, and you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
Taxpayers Coalition, and everybody must listen to me because I will help this world understand how to be better.
Yes.
And the anti-gay marriage calls he was out on, and you know what I mean. It was just he really thought change, and that made me so not want to be that way. I don't mind arguing politics, but I would never in a million years go to City Hall and start arguing with them about something. I'd go move before doing something like that.
Yeah, when I was talking with Mayor Fred, I was going to say, do you remember that guy who, got the stadium shut down for a while? That's my dad. I didn't quite, we weren't walking that long. It didn't come up, but. But I really appreciate the fact that he was passionate about something and he felt something had to be changed and he was willing to do it. Like that's a very commendable thing. The fact that, you want people to change and they're not willing to, there's not enough people on your side, then what can you do?
I think it was a bit, look at me changing the world. If you he didn't get anything from it. It's not like he made money by doing that. You know what I mean? That took his time away. He would have had more time with his kids.
Yeah, but he did other good things. He helped people with their pensions, and he helped people immigrating. Like he did a lot of good things.
Yeah.
It just wasn't in the big political arena that I think he had envisioned being able to do. But I think that people who do political service, they have an idea. I was talking to one of our city councilors, and she said, I was surprised that, I'm elected, and so now it's time to vote. And I'm supposed to vote what the people want. And 50% want this, and the other 50% want the opposite. So what do I do? So, well, you have to vote what we voted for you, so you pick whatever you want to do. And yes, other people are going to be angry, but that's the thing, is they didn't want people to be angry. But it's like you're picking the opposite stance of what they think is best for whatever reason. So you have to have, that's why I could never do politics. I could never handle the criticism. Not and be wounded.
Honestly, I don't think I could. That would be the problem. It would be the dealing with nonsense all the time, with corruption and people like Dad having an idea about anti-gay marriage and just, going to the ends of the earth to make his point, and he would never give up on those kind of things. Like I learned great lessons from Dad, how not to be.
Well, we learn from, that's the thing. I too have learned from other people's mistakes. And I think that's one of my, I can't say gifts. One of the things, if anything makes me clever, or is that I can look at a situation and I see that there's a mistake, and I can feel it so closely that I can learn not to do that, because I didn't have to personally make that mistake to learn a lesson. And I love that, because then I don't have to hurt other people or myself in doing something, because I've watched something not work. Okay, well, I'll just, not do that.
That's empathy in a different form.
Yeah.
Being able to learn from somebody else's mistake and to make that your own, as if you saw that happen to you. Yeah. I'm that, like, Dad with Bill Gowers, that always bothered me, like, very deeply, that he treated Bill.
But they had a riff. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bill was a very sweet guy. I really liked Bill a lot. I went and at one point and, set him up with movies and series and documentaries on his TV through a box that I had. And,
yeah.
And like that's when Dad was mad at him. Like, I didn't want, and he was such a help to them.
Yeah. It could have been a good relationship, but
Dad just wants to burn those bridges. And yeah.
Some people find that too hard to get over, to move past. But it's your loss when you can't do that. It's not. But
yeah.
So Unforgiven.
And I'll figure out
the 2000s.
Try and figure out something for that. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording now.
Okay, we'll see y'all next month. All of you people that want. Someone is, if you've watched to the end, bless you, my person, because
no kidding.
Yeah, and it's like I have to tell you, your life is a little sad. Either that, or you just have to have something on in the background that you can listen to and do something exciting. Actually, like, why you have to, I don't know, wait for your toenails to dry or something.
That's not good. Life is sad.
If you find us completely entertaining, and that you've hung in this long, that nothing else better came up, Jeff.
I don't think anybody think is the problem is Stacey's probably going to watch the whole thing, and then you're saying your life is sad.
You're right. I don't want to call her sad.
I know.
And I think Laura's watched a couple times to the end, but we don't offer the prize at the end anymore. The code word. Banana. Say the word banana next time we will mention your name on our podcast.
Winner. Okay, I'm gonna hit stop.
Okay, bye.